Hi there, and welcome to another Wisdom Wednesday. I am super excited to share these nuggets with you because it's real life for me. And I feel that this is such a great opportunity to use this platform to let you know that your feelings are accurate, they're real, and it's a real thing. It's not made up. And so what I want to talk about on this Wisdom Wednesday is how overwhelming leadership is. And what do we need to do? I don't know how many of you remember, but we used to get awards for perfect attendance at school back in the day, and that was great and all, but sometimes perfect attendance doesn't always mean that you're doing what you need to do. Okay? There's nobody giving out perfect attendance awards for leaders if they come to work every single day. And if that is your goal, please stop because um you can't really pour from an empty cup. Like not can't really. You can't pour from an empty cup. So why put yourself through turmoil and drama and all of this trying to get a perfect attendance award when your physical and mental health is deteriorating? Okay? As leaders, we need to take intentional breaks to prioritize our wellness. We get sick days, we get time off, we get breaks as leaders, as educational leaders. Take them, okay? If no one has told you or given you permission or you felt like you didn't have the permission to take them, please take them. Let me tell you, your life would be so much more balanced and um your mental and your physical health would be so it would thrive if you take the time that you are allotted. Take your time. Again, there is no perfect attendance awards for leaders to show up every day. Now, I'm not saying abuse leave. That is not what I'm saying. But leave is there for a reason. Let me tell you why this is near and dear to me. Because recently, I have just had a lot going on. I have been kind of updating you throughout my time. I've moved from the United States to another country. I've started a new role. I really have not taken a beat since getting back and starting this new role. And my body was giving me signs like, sis, slow down, slow down, until it was like, okay, we gonna stop warning you. We gonna put you there. And you never want to get to a point where your body makes a decision for you. Now, I took a day off of work. I did. I was mentally drained, physically exhausted, and it was presenting itself in some migraines and stress headaches, and my ears were ringing and all the things. And I felt guilty for not going to work. I was like, all right, sis, come on, get it together. You could push through it. You could push through it. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to push through. I'm always pushing through. When there is no more me to push, guess what? You are replaceable. If you didn't know that, you are. And the job is still going to keep going. And it's unfortunate. Yes, we'll pause, we'll take a moment of silence. We'll have a few snipples here and there. But guess what? The show will still go on. And that's not me downplaying anybody's significance or what they bring to the table. I'm just telling you the real hard facts. If you don't take care of you, no one else will. So, as leaders, as we're still in the month of October, I want to take a moment to bring awareness to physical and mental health by using the acronym PAUSE. Because again, we need to be intentional in prioritizing our well being. So, when we talk about pause, I want you to think about what pause stands for in our conversation. The P stands for prioritizing physical activity, A stands for adopting mindful practices, U stands for unplug regularly. S stands for sleep well. And E stands for embrace gratitude. So when we talk about prioritizing physical activity, we want to make sure that we're intentionally setting aside dedicated time for movement. This could look like a walk, it could look like a stretch, it could look like a full-blown workout. Whatever you need to do that is physical movement, because physical movement helps you to reduce stress and boost your energy levels. So let me tell you what I did on my day off. I turned up the music in my house when I felt in a place where I could actually move. And I just rocked. Did a little shoulder shimmy, put on some feel good music. I was just in the zone. I was just doing the thing, just some upbeat music. I also lit some candles. I had my diffuser going, just setting my mood, setting my atmosphere so that it could be conducive to my physical activity. I think I'm jumping, but that's what I did on my day off. Like I had to get some steps in, of course, but I did some movement. Some other ways that you could think about that is stretching in the morning, doing some walking wherever you have an opportunity to. If you have an elevator in your building, going and take the steps. You have exercises that you could do at your desk. So if you are a leader that balances, doing classroom walkthroughs or whatever, and then you come and sit down at your desk, there's different things that you could get for under your desk, a walking pad, the little stepper thing, just something to get moving because it would help. The other thing you could do is park further away. But let me tell you, as a leader, as a building leader, I got a designated parking spot, and wherever my parking spot is, that's where I'm parking. So that one may not be apropos to you, but you do what you do. Just make sure that you get some physical movement in and that you're prioritizing that. Another thing to think about is adopting mindfulness practices. And this could look like some deep breathing exercises, some meditation, some journaling. These things help you stay grounded and help you to manage the demands of your leadership with clarity. And let me tell you, during my sick day, again, my sick day was dedicated to my physical and mental health. I got my journal out. Okay. I got my journal. I got my calendar. I got my personal notebook, my sorority notebook, my work notebook. And I was just trying to put things in perspective. Journaling, thinking about what has been going well thus far. We're ending the first quarter, and just thinking about what the next steps are going to be. um, Ways that you can adopt mindfulness practices. Again, deep breathing exercises, mindful listening. So listening, y'all know I preach about that miracle morning. That is a great opportunity for you to practice some mindfulness strategies. They also have this thing on the miracle morning for body scan meditations, where you actually focus on different parts of your body, from your head to your toes, and just really being present. They also have an opportunity for you to do some sort of 5 sense check-in where you are grounding yourself, you're noticing what you're hearing, what you're thinking, just so that you can get yourself in a good place, and just being aware of your surroundings. And of course, ways that you can adopt mindfulness practices is by reflective journaling. Let me tell y'all about this you. Okay. On my day off, I was really um I really wanted to know what was going on at the schoolhouse, but then I really didn't. So I had to use my day off to be intentional about the technology, because if I was sitting there answering emails and doing all the things, I really wouldn't have gotten the downtime that I needed to reset and to rejuvenate. And so, one thing that I want to adopt is unplugging regularly, where I am taking some intentional breaks from technology to ensure that I do not burn out. I also need to make sure, and I'm talking to me. I mean, if you get a nugget or two, that's great, but I'm talking to me. I'm going to make sure that I'm setting boundaries for email and screen time so that I can recharge my physical, my mental, and my emotional energy. Some additional ways as leaders that you can unplug regularly is make sure that you have like a phone free lunch. Lunch, what's lunch, right? Because as leaders, how often do we get to eat lunch? I'm going to pause right there. Make sure you eating lunch, okay? Okay, snacks, lunch, whatever you need to do, you gotta eat. But again, that's not what we talk. Yeah, yes, it is what we talk about. Make sure that when you're eating your lunch, that you're dedicating mealtime without tech. Look, I get it. I'm in your shoes. I get it. But we have got to unplug because it messes up with our mind and messes up with screen fatigue and all the things like just pause. Just pause. Email boundaries. I got a story about emails, child, but I don't even want to set designated times to check emails. I know that that is easier said than done, but you got to. You got to, because other than that, you're going to run yourself ragged. And what we're not doing is running ourselves ragged. We're not going to do it. So we're going to set designated times to check our emails. We're going to turn off notifications and during focused work time. Let me tell y'all what I was doing. I had the work email. So I got a work phone. I have my personal phone. And the work phone is supposed to be for the work stuff. Why do I have the work email on my personal phone? Why? Why am I taking that off my personal phone? Mm, because it's time to unplug. Sometimes we got to do what's called the next point, a digital detox. We got to make sure that we are clearing our mind, our phones, all the things, just detoxing for a minute. We got to take a breath. And if you're really feeling good in the neighborhood, maybe you may want to consider a no tech weekend. Now, let me tell y'all, in all honesty and in all transparency, I don't know if I'm there yet, but I'm gonna look into it. A no tech weekend basically looks like you're setting aside a few hours. We could do that, right? During the weekend to engage in activities that don't involve the screen. That could be going outdoors, reading, just anything that doesn't involve the screen. Let's commit to doing that. I think I could do that. Y'all, the last thing that I want to talk about when we talking about unplugging regularly is activating the DND. What's the DND? Do not disturb mode. It is okay. I'm saying this and I'm positive because I know I get a little freaked out, but baby, let me tell you, the world will keep moving. Do not disturb mode is another way that you can unplug regularly. Let's get into the S. Okay, let me tell you, on my day off, it felt so good to sleep in. I think just part of the rest that I needed was an additional sleep time. Now, let's be very clear. My body woke up and was like, sis, it's time to go. Sis, you can push. Sis, you can do this. I gave myself the pep talk, and my body was like, nah, we not. No, we're not. No, we're not. So once my body won the battle with my mind and self talk, I laid it back down and I went back to sleep. And when I tell you, I felt so rejuvenated just by elongating the amount of sleep that I had. I was like, this is it. So, what that meant for me was that I needed to make sleep a priority by creating a consistent sleep routine. Because guess what? A well rested leader makes better decisions and handles stress more effectively. So, what does sleeping well look like on a real talk? Okay, making sure that we have a consistent bedtime. Try as much as possible to go to bed the same time each night so that you have a regular sleeping pattern. Now, for me as a building leader of a high school, it's kind of sporadic with my sleeping because we have games that we have to go to, extracurricular activities. But guess what? You leverage your team, you leverage the other admin, and y'all split it up, right? So that you know in your mind that you can plan for these are the times when you're going to do this, and these are the times when you're going to do that, so that you can have some sort of consistency in your sleep pattern. You also want to have a wind down routine. This looks like a pre sleep ritual. That could be reading a book, taking a warm bath. These are the things that's going to signal your body, like, hey, it's time to lay it down, right? Now, this one is a big one for me. Limit caffeine. Now, I'm gonna say I'm gonna limit the caffeine, but before I go to bed, right? So avoid consuming caffeine after mid-afternoon to ensure that it doesn't disrupt your sleep. For me, honestly, I don't think caffeine has that sleep disruption quality for me, but hey, I'm gonna take heed. I'm gonna take heed. And make sure that you're creating a restful environment so that you can sleep. So what does that look like? Making sure your room temperature and your bedroom is where it needs to be. Make sure that it's all conducive to what's going to make you fall asleep. So if it's that it needs to be a certain temperature, it needs to be dark, it needs to be quiet, whatever you need to do to set the tone so that you can go to bed. Notice how I didn't say bring your work phone or bring your cell phone with you, because you're going to get a ping if you're not on the DND. We already talked about that. But just make sure that all the things that you're doing is conducive to it's time to go to bed. And the last thing, like I just said, make sure you unplug before it's time to go to bed so that this way your mind is realizing like, hey friend, it's time to go. It's time to let it lay it down. The last letter in pause that we want to focus on is the E, and it's gratitude. So, what does that look like? Well, I am going to be, again, fully transparent and honest with you. On my day off, I thank the Lord. I thank the good Lord for allowing me to recognize what my body was telling me to do, that I didn't have to be forced down. You see, again, like I said, your body and your mind, they talk and they like, look, here's the warning signs. I'm glad I yielded to the warning signs instead of waiting till the point where I couldn't go any further. And so one of the first things that I did was I said, Lord, I thank you that I was able that you gave me those ever so sweet signs to sit down, and I was able to have a listening ear to do that. And I told the Lord, I did, how grateful I was. And so embracing gratitude is where we're going. Make sure that we're starting and ending our day with gratitude. We're reflecting on the positive moments to boost our emotional resilience and so that we can maintain a positive outlook. Now, what are some ways that we can embrace gratitude? Well, you can have a gratitude journal. I already showed you mine, where every day you write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And you can do this at the end of the day so that you can start your next day and just really embrace all the things that went well or the things again that you're grateful for. You can send thank you notes to folks, a quick thank you email, a note to a colleague who has helped or inspired you, a good old email, a good old note, a text message, an emoji, something just to show your appreciation. Also, when you have team staff meetings, start off with gratitude, accolades, acknowledgments. Bravo Zulus, look that up. That's a story for another time. Just to tell positive things or successes to your team, because that boosts morale. It doesn't just make you feel good, but it makes the people around you feel good because they feel seen and they feel heard and they also feel valued. And then also reflect on challenges. Acknowledge that every day is not a bright, sunshiny day. There are difficult situations. But from that, we have an opportunity to learn. It's a learning opportunity. And so when we learn from these difficult situations, it gives us another opportunity to grow. And then when we talked about prioritizing that physical health, let me tell you, a gratitude walk. Hmm. The last it wasn't on my day that I was sick, but the last football game that I attended, I realized that my rings on my Apple Watch weren't closed. And so I had to again prioritize my physical health. But while I was attempting to close my rings, which I did because I know y'all wanted to know the answer to that, I just walked the track while I was watching the football game and just reflected on all the things that I was so appreciative for, and just had a gratitude conversation. And of course, I didn't have this walking conversation without some music playing in my ear, positive, inspirational, uplifting music to help me get through the walk, one, but also to help me reflect. So listen, this is a longer Wisdom Wednesday that I wanted, but it was so good because it's so relevant. If nobody else gives you permission, take time to pause. It is okay. Life goes on without you. And I'm so sorry to be the bearer of that news, but it is true. There is no trophies or awards like how we used to get back in the day for perfect attendance. You need to prioritize your physical and mental health so that you can be productive, that you could help others. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Self care is not selfish, it needs to be a prioritized. It needs to be a priority. So if you haven't learned anything from this week's Wisdom Wednesday, please just take away the acronym PAUSE. And you got the picture there with the pause button. Stop, take a breath. If that means you got to take a day off, it's okay. It's okay. Until next time, guys. Bye.